Hello, Ectosage here on the Sage Channel, and today I am here with a dropship, or a lander, or whatever you want to call it. A ship that I've built that, in theory, should be able to survive a landing on a planet and transport a few troops or colonists or whatever have you down to the surface. Now, please note, with the previously shown videos by the devs, I should say their previous update, they went ahead and showed a new thruster, which looks to be some sort of planetary thruster to get your ships off the planet's surface. So who knows, maybe my hover video made it, or my grumpy gravity woes video made an impact, or maybe they were working on it already, let's be honest here. Well, also, it should be pointed out that Sektan contacted me, and he said that while he was poking around in the game files, he went ahead and found that that thruster was in there, and it's only designed to work with oxygen, at least in the little tiny bit of code he had. I'm telling you all this just so you know that there's a good chance this ship won't even function come planetfall. So it'll get down into the atmosphere, and, well, maybe these thrusters will no longer work as well, because somebody in my comments did also point out that these are ion thrusters, which don't really work too well, apparently, in atmosphere. So who knows, maybe this ship won't work at all and we'll get to see it crash. But up here with the modded gravity generators, this ship does function. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I've given you enough of a roundabout view of the outside of it, I believe. Let's go ahead and I'll just stick in spectator to show you around it. Let's put the controller down and use the keyboard and mouse here. And let's just have a quick look at it. The ship itself started out pretty clearly down here as, well, a few different little pieces. In fact, I can fly all the way down here, and you can see the ship really started out as just a lifting body, which is actually pretty fun to use. I'll actually go ahead and show that to you with a Star Wars style wipe right there to get my little camera character guy down here. I'll hop into the ship, and I'll just show you. It's pretty fun to use. If you've seen my Gravity Woes video, you've already seen pretty much how this functions, just like those chairs I was showing in the past. It's a nice little hover about thing with only bottom thrusters, and it basically functions like a helicopter pretty much. For the most part at least, and it's a lot of fun to fly. So this is how the Bulm, I believe as I'm calling it, dropship started, or lander, as just one of these platforms here. And unfortunately I've just flown out of gravity, and we're going to abandon that right now. I did of course keep tweaking that little design, and I found myself with a few other little ones, and I ended up actually going ahead and reworking the whole inner workings and adding on some thrusters on the outside till, well, going back up to the actual ship up above, the finished Bulm one. Well, you can see that I've gone ahead and changed the actual thruster arms quite a bit. Unfortunately, they don't exactly blend the best. From the front, they actually look alright, but from the back, they sort of just stick into it. Unfortunately, I couldn't quite get a design I was too happy with. It's one of the reasons I've given this ship such a lackluster name. And you can see that I do have quite a few thrusters on the sides of them now, 2 for each direction. In fact, I actually technically got 4 for going down. As you can see, I got 2 there and 2 on this side. Inside of these things, we do have a few gyroscopes, if I can find them. There we go. Fair few there. And a fair few, I think, over here. Oh, no, they're only on the back ones. And then, of course, that's mirrored over to the other side. At the back of the ship, if we fly in here, I do have a modded light. This is the one and only mod on this ship, so if you want to use this in a vanilla world, feel free to do so. Only the difference will be you don't have those lights in there. And they're a pretty nifty mod. If you haven't heard of it, it'll be in the description down below, as well as the thing that give my ships gravity. And you can see we have 6 seats in here. And once again, nice little fade to get my character back up here. There we go. And with my character up here, we're out of the gravity zone, but you can see that I have a cargo container here, and the main idea of this cargo container is so that you can actually store a little bit of stuff, but also if you have oxygen tanks, you can place them in here. And we do actually have an oxygen generator, so if you had ice in this, you could easily keep your O2 tanks refueled. That way, as you're sitting here, if you're flying through the vacuum of space, you will not die of oxygen starvation. The cockpit itself, if we were to fly around to the front, does indeed have a camera above it, and does allow you to go ahead and sit in here and get oxygen from the seat itself, because if we were to hop into spectator mode once again, and actually let's go ahead and take our main character and aim him off to the side so we don't have that selection thing. If we were to go ahead and fly inside the ship though, you'll see that the cockpit, as I mentioned, is hooked up. We have our oxygen thing hooked into, actually I believe, both sides of the ship, yes indeed. And then of course these pipes all lead back in a sort of mess of things to, well, an antenna, as well as, I believe this is an oxygen generator stuck right here slightly into the floor, followed by an oxygen tank, followed by actually another oxygen tank stacked on top of that. At the back here we can see that we have the basically, it was a large connector between the oxygen generator and the tank. It goes back down to a small one that leads into the reactors. We have 3 reactors, and then this one here just leads into that little cargo container we had. So, pretty compact mess back there. It's one of the reasons why this ship has this bulk size here. And then, of course, I did experiment around with adjusting this room here to have more chairs. Unfortunately, I couldn't really fit in any more. I originally had 4 chairs on each side, but I had to move them back to make way for all of this, because I did want this ship to be able to produce its own oxygen, just in case you were landing on a planet that did not have any. Well, that is it for this ship when it comes to actually touring it. It's a relatively simplistic thing. I don't believe I have a remote control block in there. Let's just do a quick check. Oh, I do have a remote control block in there, thank God, and I even have it set up for the camera. So you can actually remote control this ship if, let's say you wanted the pilot back up to the surface, or back up to the surface, back up to your main ship from the surface, or maybe vice versa, get one down from your main ship. Something like maybe you have seen in Aliens. Anyway, one last thing to demonstrate this thing flying around. I'm going to actually load up a different world where I have, well, more gravity fields. So let's go ahead and switch to that real quick. And here we are. Right away when I load in, you'll notice that we have these nice big grids above us. That's to extend our gravity field up. And we'll go ahead and control paste in this ship. Of course, this world doesn't have those modded lights in it, so again, as I said, the only difference here is that you just don't get those lights in there. And by the way, you can, from the surface, jump right up into here. That's why there's no ramp or anything, just good old sprint jump, and it works perfectly. So let's go ahead and actually fly this ship around, that way you can see how it handles, and turn off our UI. So you don't really need that. Unfortunately, we are getting some little frame drops here that I wasn't expecting. And you can see that 4 large thrusters are just enough to get the ship off the ground. Hopefully it would continue to be enough with its cargo loaded up, and also with a full crew of people. If it's not, oopsie daisy dandy. But you can see here this ship can indeed fight against the natural gravity that we currently have in this world with the modded gravity generators. Oh god! And, oh god, have I run into like a pocket of extra strong gravity? What's going on? What happened? Hold on, what? Take off, take off, take off. What happened there? It was like we just couldn't fight it enough. Well, it works. Just gotta be cautious with flying in gravity. You know, there is an area here where I've screwed up for just a tiny little bit and it becomes double gravity. Whoopsie daisy, that's what happened there. Anyway, you can see it's a slow-moving ship, but it gets the job done. It's not exactly a beautiful-looking ship either, but as I said, it's able to accomplish its objective of fighting gravity and, in theory, getting people from the surface of a planet up back into orbit. As I mentioned earlier, though, for all we know, this is all completely obsolete, and because they're going to have to use a special thruster possibly in orbit or on the surface, might not really be useful at all. Anyway, that's that for this ship. I just felt like sharing it. I did spend quite a bit of time working on it and retweaking it. You might have noticed there was another ship in my sort of construction area up in the sky. Oh god, don't impact hard. Woo! Inertial dampener is still 10 times as strong, it seems, where it sort of stopped myself quicker letting go of the spacebar than me using it. Oh boy. Anyway, as I mentioned, you might have seen a fighter up there in the sky. Basic gist of that is that's another video coming. I am much prouder of that fighter, so I'm going to give it its own video. One last thing before I end this is sort of a random show, well not random show, random video where we have the not exactly the most impressive ship ever. Well, I guess apparently I'm going to be destroying a few of these just for the heck of it, but I'm also, and you can see the way that one's sort of, well, they're actually surviving ground impacts pretty well, honestly. I didn't expect that. Okay, that one didn't. Nope, that one took a lot more damage. It seems like they've tweaked the way like stuff hits the ground. It doesn't take as much damage as it did in the past. I'm kind of alright with that, because you're going to be bumping the ground a bit, which I guess sort of makes sense. But they did also buff the mining drills on these things. So I can go ahead and actually, this is vertical miner. You need to go ahead and select it. I can actually just really quickly show you this now, how it works, since they have improved it. And up. And forward just a little, no, forward just a little bit, stop. Gyroscopes are still strong. And now we can go ahead and turn on the drills. And look at that, it actually works. Not like before where it was shattered. Anyway, that's that for this. I just thought I'd show this as well since, I'm not gonna lie, the Bulm is not my most impressive ship ever. But I just wanted to share it, so I'd have some landing craft I could at least test come. Oh god, right, I forgot. My fake planet only has so much Earth, and then it just is a drop, which has broken all my drills. But hey, I just wanted to show that I do have a lander, and I'll go ahead and toss it up on the Steam Workshop if you want to go ahead and test it out yourself and smash it to bits, or maybe retrofit its whole inner workings and stick some turrets on it, or whatever. Okie dokie, that's that, guys. Thanks a bunch for watching, and I shall see you another day, another time, to show off that other fighter, the Leia, or whatever I'm going to end up calling it. See you guys. Ta-ta.